This is 91.3 FM, WCW in Worcester, Mass. This is the Dr.Chris Radio Horror Show, and on the show with us in a recorded interview is Lia Scott Thomas, the author and creator behind Serial Killer and Vampire Guardian Angels. Thank you for coming on the show with us, Lia.
Thank you very much, and I'm honored to be on your show. It's a pleasure meeting you. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. For anyone not familiar with your books, what is Vampire Guardian Angels about?
It is about guardian angels who were bitten by vampires, and pretty much in a nutshell, they are serial killers because if you pray to them in despair, that's how they track you down, and they come and get you. So basically, your guardian angel is now a vampire, and so yeah, pretty wild concept.
What made you want to get into the realm of comic books?
Comic books, yes, because I figured that my characters would make a great comic book character. I've done novels, I've done films, and so comic books was kind of like the next step. It would be kind of great to cover all media. So, I just thought that, comic books would be a great idea to kind of bring them to life and just to see them come out. Because sometimes in a novel, you don't really see what the character looks like. Or, it's kind of it's just words. But if you do it in the comic book, you see a more visual image and you can get as bloody and as gory as you want.
What were some of the influences of the industry growing up that helped you create your characters?
I grew up, with the classic B-movie vampires, the 1980 vampire films like Lost Boys, Fright Night, and 30 Days of Night. And vampires were the one creature that always scared the crap out of me. So I kind of miss that now. I mean, you've got, like a lot of shows that just don't show the classic evil, vicious, bloody, gory vampire. So that kind of inspired me to, let's say, kind of bring them back and kind of feature them. And it's kind of like a homage to that type of vampire that I really absolutely love. I grew up with the Christopher Lee films, the Hammer films, Seven Golden Vampire kind of stuff. So it's campy and it's great, but in my comic books, I try to put, everything, a little sarcasm, a little kind of that film noir feel, that old X-Files type stuff, and, it's kind of like a combination of everything that I've ever loved about vampires. So that's kind of like how I got into it. I kind of wanted to make it more of a visual impact. So that's kind of how I got into the comic book.
What are some of the characters in your comic book series?
The characters are, of course, the guardian angel Gabriel. He is the main character. He's very evil. I kind of get him like the archetype of serial killer, kind of suffering down deep inside. Like, he hears all these prayers, and his only goal is to pretty much just shut you up and stop your whining, because basically he hates his job. And he resents his role of being a guardian angel. So that kind of motivates him. And when he became a vampire, all hell breaks loose pretty much. So he's kind of like my favorite character. He's just pretty much indestructible. And he's the kind of vampire that you would just, like, really, really fear. Some of the other characters, his nemesis is Cameron, and Cameron is kind of like the good cop. He plays a detective in the series, so that's his disguise on Earth. So he keeps going after Gabriel, trying to turn him back to the good side, or either try to, stop him from doing a serial killing. And he's just the epitome of a good guy. He can't kill people. He can't kill the bad guys, and that's what makes these characters so endearing to me. And the other thing too is that I try to write it in a way where there's no good, there's no evil. I mean, the good guy could become evil at some point, and the bad guy could be good at any point. really, really kind of tie them down to a certain, there's neither good or evil in there. And so I try to make different characters kind of, fight each other. There's moral issue. There's no romance. I try to avoid that because, this is the part of the vampire series. So, the characters are mainly serial killers, but they also have human kind of personalities and human feelings, and, they always struggle within themselves as well.
I noticed you also have an IMDb page with short films based on your work that you directed, starred, produced, written,
yes,
edited.
I have done film. Yeah, basically what I've tried to do was bring these characters to life, as I would say, and I kind of experimented with them. The short films were kind of just kind of marketing and promotional.
Uh-huh.
So I would try to make them short enough where you could get introduced to the character, get introduced to who they were and what they do. So it's more of like a really scary kind of impact. Like, okay, Vampire Guardian Angels, what are they about? Well, you can see the short film, you can read the comic book, or you can read the novel. So that was kind of like my goal, was to use every media that was available to kind of bring out these characters and kind of, visually show them like, oh my God, these guys are really scary and gross.
Your last one was in 2012. Do you have more coming out?
I plan a web series. Hopefully, after the comic series is done, we plan to go up to 2016, where issue 6 is kind of the season finale. And after that, I will be working on a few more issues. And then, but at the same time, I do plan a web series. It's going to kind of be like an X-Files type episodal vampire series. So that's pretty much in the works.
Are you going to be kickstarting it, or is some kind to fund it?
I fund everything myself. So, yes, it will be self-funded. And, a lot of my friends are actors. A lot of locations are from friends. So it will kind of be, the do-it-yourself kind of thing. And I kind of like self-funding. So I haven't done any Kickstarters or any, raising any money yet. I'm not kind of used to that, but who knows? We'll see.
Is this just the one series that you have, Vampire Guardian Angels, or you have another one?
I do not have another one yet. This is the only comic book series I have at the moment. That's taking up, my full concentration. I'm not sure if I want to develop another one, but if I do, it will still be vampire themed. But so far, this is the only series that's based on a novel, and the reason for that is I'm trying to do as much as I can from the original novel itself. There might be a video game, I might be planning that. There might, like I said, there's a web series, and who knows, an anime. I'm thinking about doing an anime as well, so that's kind of, I'm kind of projecting in the future, what else could I do with these characters before I move on to something else.
Now, excuse me, all the artwork is done by you, correct?
I'm sorry?
All the artwork is done by you?
No. I am the writer, and my artists are Andrew Setter and Chad Hammondtree. Andrew is the main illustrator. He does all the artwork by hand. He sketches all of that from a script that I give him, and he inks everything by hand as well. Chad is my graphic artist and my colorist and letterer. So when he hands it over to Chad does all the amazing blood work and all the coloring and all the graphics in there. And then I put the book together at the end. So we kind of work as a creative team. So they're awesome. They're very talented. So it's kind of a really kind of cool teamwork. And we work long distance. They live in Missouri. I live in Los Angeles. So at times it is a challenge, but we work digitally together through email, through text, and I also bring them over every year to Kamikaze Expo in Los Angeles, Stanley's Kamikaze. So once a year, we actually do get together, and we kind of collaborate further on what else we need to do with the series.
What other conventions? What other conventions do you attend?
So far, Kamikaze is the only one I attend for now. I need to stay local only because I am partially disabled with 4 types of nerve disorders, so mobility and travel is kind of really limited. But as soon as that comes under control, I hopefully do plan to, attend maybe, other out of state or in other cities, other conventions. So that's another thing in the works. I'm kind of looking forward to that. So hopefully I can travel in the near future.
Now, being a comic book fan, do you have a weekly pick that you go to for every Wednesday when new comics come out? Is there a book, are there a couple books in particular that you look forward to every month?
At this point, I haven't really caught up with everything. I wish I could. I'm still trying to catch up with The Walking Dead and other shows and comic book series. I really want to see that comic book Priest. And, of course, the Spawn series, that's what I really look forward to.
The what? I'm sorry. T.O., the what?
Spawn.
James Bond? Dawn. Okay, yeah. Dawn. All right.
Yeah, sorry. And so when I go to Kamikaze, I always try to look for, comic books that really interest me, and I pick up some issues and go around trying to look and learn about them. It's kind of limited with the time I have in creating my own stuff, and not to say that I'm not interested in other comic books, but most of the time I'm also, laid out on meds. Right? So, it's kind of difficult for me to manage my physical condition and catch up with everything, but I do try. And, if you have any suggestions for awesome comic books that you want me to read or anybody out there, send them my way, because I'm always looking for something really interesting and really, really, looking forward to it. And meeting other authors, meeting other comic book creators. And honestly, this is my first time within the comic book realm. So I feel like I'm relatively so new to it that everything is kind of overwhelming. And I'm trying to meet other creators. I'm trying to, get the scene, and it's a learning experience for me, and I'm just kind of really honored to be among them.
One of the titles I could recommend is probably, it just ended, but Matt Fraction's Hawkeye entire series was fantastic. Brian Michael Bendis's Powers comic book series is amazing. Chapel Hill by Vertigo is really, really great.
I've heard about that. Okay, Chapel Hill, got it.
And probably Savage Dragon by Erik Larson.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm writing it down. Awesome.
Erik Larson is one of the original founders of Image Comics and the only Image founder still doing his own book today.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Savage Dragon was one of the first titles, and they
that's great. Okay.
Yeah, they are still. He is still doing that comic book to this very day.
Awesome. Then I will go ahead and check it out. Thank you very much for that recommendation.
I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and there's like 1,000,001 Spider-Man books, so you kind of have to be pick or choose, which one you love. But just in terms of superhero books that I've read recently, again, Matt Fraction's Hawkeye was amazing. It's not just Clint Barton Hawkeye, it's also Kate Bishop, which is the female teenage Hawkeye girl that took his place when he died for a little while.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. And so, yeah, basically I also really like underground comics because I'm pretty much, an underground comic writer. So a lot of indie stuff really does appeal to me. I'm the type who likes, more, non-mainstream comic books or non-mainstream publications or music.
Yep.
let's say black metal or something. So, that's kind of also what I'm interested in looking at.
Are you a gamer?
No, I'm not a gamer. I mean, I was married to gamers. Basically, I really have, like,
You wait, hold on.
that much time.
You were married to gamers? You've married multiple gamers?
No, I was married to a gamer.
Okay. That might be a reason why the marriages don't work if you keep marrying gamers and you're not one yourself.
I know. Well, he was more of a Dungeons and Dragons kind of multi, player that had like several people in one house and they're screaming at each other over there.
Okay.
Awesome. It was awesome, though.
Out of all the crappy, shitty vampire things that you've seen, and you can't say Twilight or True Blood because those are whatever, what is the worst thing you've ever seen?
Oh, that's hard. I just like the new remake of Salem's Lot. Let's put it this way.
The one with Rob Lowe, you didn't like it?
Yeah, no, that's too much. I wasn't too into it. I mean, I really like the old ones, like, because I think they just have more, how do you say, personality to them, more campiness.
I don't know. I don't know. I think the remake had more in touch with the book, which were Machiavellian style vampires compared to the movie, which decided to use Nosferatu vampires, and I think that had something to do with the fact that it was the 50th anniversary of the original Nosferatu, because the Salem's Lot came out around the time of the 50th anniversary of the original Nosferatu, and they had remade Nosferatu.
Right. Yeah, and because I'm kind of like I'm the old-fashioned type, like the Hammer film. That's kind of like my thing. It's just I'm so drawn to that old thing. I mean, the way people are drawn to antiques or old cars. That's kind of that, and that's kind of like the goal of what I want my characters to almost look like. And my artist and I haven't experimented with this. I mean, do we combine like the old Nosferatu type, or do we make them look, kind of normal, or do we do both, or make them, kind of creepier? It's kind of like an experiment as we go along. I mean, it's almost like the Fright Night. That one character is friend with the teeth. When he comes to attack his friends in the kitchen, oh my God, that was like, I want those teeth. Oh my God, that is perfect. kind of the thing. It's like I'm trying to combine all these old elements with the newer ones, if that kind of makes sense.
No, I gotcha. That does. It totally does.
Yeah.
How did you, just one last question, how did you and your partners get together? How did you guys meet? Because a lot of people sometimes find it hard to try and find a partner they can work with very well to create a project, especially if one that doesn't have any funding to begin with.
It took a year. I originally had one artist, but I pretty much had to fire him because he was just so flaky. I mean, it would take like 6 months to do one stage, and it just wasn't working out. So, then after that, I tried to do things myself. I'm like, no, I can't draw. This is not going to work.
Yeah, I can't either.
Yeah, so the next thing I did was go on online to freelance.com, and I found this, I sent out a bunch of questions, and I did phone interviews, and whoever responded first and answered them correctly would be the guy. And I found Andrew, and basically when I called him, he just said, I got you. I know exactly what you want. And the next day he sent me a sample, and I just didn't even show him anything. I just described exactly what my comics was still about, and he came back with these amazing sketches. I'm like, that's it. And it's almost like, it took me pretty much a year to find someone who read my mind. I mean, these two guys, Chad and Andrew, can just basically take what I have, an image in my mind, and translate it perfectly on paper. I mean, I don't even see, we work a year in between comic books because we all work, day jobs. And I don't even get to see anything until it's pretty much finalized and drawn. and it's perfect. I mean, I have, in the 4 or 5 issues we have done, not one single redraw. And, you know, it is so difficult to find people like that, and so difficult to find the same people who share that same vision. I mean, Andrew's style is more like the Frank Miller Sin City, you know, artwork. And it's just amazing. I mean, I lucked out on that one. I really, really did. I mean, I tried for a long time. And so I'm hanging on to these guys forever if I can. So, yeah, it was difficult. It was very difficult to find the right artist to connect with you in that sense. You know, and you share the same passion and the same drive to create this comic book.
I kind of have the same problem. I'm trying to find an artist for my Dracula comic book, which is basically we completely gender swap the entire story of Dracula.
Oh, oh, that's awesome! Oh my God, that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be great if I could find an artist.
Yeah, you know what? Go on freelance. I mean, I'm not sure. You know, I haven't gone on there for a while, and when I found Andrew, it was like 2011 was when we started the comic book. And I mean, I've seen a lot of great artists on there. It's just that, you know, you just kind of have to find the same person who gets your vision.
Yep.
And it comes with, you know, talking with a lot of people, you know, having them answer the same questions. And I felt so bad. I go, you know, my questions were so harsh. And he goes, no, they're perfect. Don't worry, because you got to find that person. You got to find someone who's not going to flake, you know, who's not going to run off and not do anything. I mean, these guys communicate with me like 24/7 pretty much, you know. They don't leave me hanging, and it's great because I really feel that I don't worry with them.
That's good. I guess that's the type of relationship you need, especially if you're going to become a partner on a project like what you're doing, and you need somebody you can rely on.
Right.
What type of advice would you have for people trying to get into, maybe not the industry because that's really hard, but trying to get their own comic book out?
I would say, you know, run yourself as a business. This is what I always tell people. First, you got to start. You got to make a plan. You got to make a goal. You got to find the right people. Like, you're a business, you hire the right people. And if it means interviewing people for weeks on end and, you know, having them, you know, do samples and see how they work, do it. Because this is not just something that you can just do lightly, like, oh, whatever, you can get it done, we'll get it done. No, that's not the way to do it. You kind of have to learn how to mix creativity with the business aspect. So find the right people, you know, find the right publishers. You can go online. I use CreateSpace, and you can find online publishers to do that. You have to wear many, many hats. You have to learn how to be your own, you know, art director, production person, publisher, marketer. You have to learn how to write your own press releases. I know it sounds like a lot, but the more you do it, the more your creation will be able to get out there. Because a lot of people think, you know what, I'll just wait for someone to do it for me. And that's not how it works. You could be waiting forever. Or you rely on someone else to do the publicity for you, and it's not the way it turns out. I mean, some people need a little help. Sure, they can't write their press releases, but they can always find, you know, samples on the web or, you know, hire someone to do it in like freelancers and stuff. And that's what I did in the beginning. Then I started to learn on my own. But if you're going to be a comic book publisher, you are going to have to learn to do things yourself. You're going to have to, you know, as an indie publisher, you're going to have to, you know, accept that it's a lot of work. And you may have to learn in the process to do things that you don't really want to. You know, and it's kind of hard to explain this because a lot of people get turned off by it. Like, oh, I don't want to do all that work. But guess what? It's not going to get out there unless you start it, unless you do something to help it get out there.
Solid advice. Leo, why don't you give out your website?
Sure. My website is liascottprice.com, and or you can go to vampireguardianangel.com.
Awesome. Well, Lia, thank you very much for coming on the show with us. And if anyone who is tuning in has missed the show, it will be up on Radio of Horror's YouTube page later this week. Just type in Radio of Horror on YouTube to check out Lia's interview, and she'll have it posted on her site as well.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And have a great night.